is out here.
In this video, Laura explained the correct methods for pruning grapevines and fruit trees. She highlighted that pruning promotes healthy plant growth and leads to better fruit production. Key points: pruning grapevines. Removing old and unnecessary parts encourages new growth. Pruning fruit trees. Pruning at the right time strengthens the trees and increases fruit yield. Spraying techniques. Use of organic and chemical sprays to protect plants from diseases.
Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are working on a couple of projects out here in the garden. First, we are going to be pruning our grapes, which are a complete mess again this year. They grow so fast and so much. It's amazing. When we're done with that, we're going to head out to the orchard. We're going to prune fruit trees and we're going to get them sprayed. And it is glorious out here today. It's low 50s, sun is out, no breeze. Yesterday we were out pruning all the raspberries and there was so much more snow even just yesterday. I mean, I had a little walking path on the south side of both of the raspberry beds, and then on the north side still has more snow, but I only had just a little bit and all of that snow is already gone. And it was so soggy out here, like there was standing water. There was a pond around this post and it was just, it's still soggy, but not near what it was yesterday. And here are the grapes. We've got 4 of them, one planted in the middle of each one of these posts. We've got 2 Suffolk Reds and 2 White Niagara. And the White Niagara are seeded grapes and we use those for juice. They call them a White Concord because they have that same wonderful taste, and the juice is pink. It's the best. The kids love it. They love to make gummies, like those little jelly gummies that I've showed you before. Last year, I think we did that. And they ask to do that all the time. They love it. And it's just grape juice. Like we don't add any sugar or anything like that. Wonderful flavor. And then the Suffolk Reds, they're a red table grape and they're really sweet. They're wonderful. But maybe we can put some footage up of how we pruned these last year. And it was a job that I put off a year, which I shouldn't have. So they're never going to be like a straight trunk up to the first training wire, which is usually what you're looking for. Mine start way down low and kind of fork out and do weird stuff. So we're just going to do our best to prune them again this year. But boy, I cut so much of them off last year and I was so amazed by how much they grew. It's crazy. This is the closest one to how it should look. See how the trunk comes up there? Isn't that awesome? Comes up to the first training wire. I did come along last summer and a couple of times to test the branches to see if I should do some pruning, but with new wood and all of this like mangy growth was new wood, if you try to like bend it up to train it, it pops off so easily. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna wait till they're dormant and I'll do my best to train some more branches where I want them. And there's 2 basic ways of pruning grapes. There is cane pruning and spur pruning. But first let me talk about the different parts. There's kind of 3 basic parts to grapes. There's the trunk, there's cordons, which are kind of main branches, and then there are canes that come off the cordons. And the canes are what produce the buds that produce the fruit. And they produce fruit on old wood, but once that wood has produced fruit, it won't produce fruit again. So real quick, you can see here, there's the trunk. Where it splits here, you can see a main branch go this way, and there's a main branch that goes the other way. Those are cordons. And then where they come off, like right here, this is a cane. And so you can see the bud here. This one will produce fruit. So we'll pop some pictures up on the screen of the 2 different kinds of pruning. So cane pruning is where you have your trunk and then you almost have a crown where the cordons are, but you don't let the cordons grow out laterally like I am doing here. Instead, you kind of keep them short, and instead of training the cordon to go out, you just train 1 cane on either side off of that really short cordon. And then there's spur pruning, which is what I'm doing. So we've got the trunk, we've got cordons that we've trained out laterally, and then the canes come off of the cordons, and typically you take those canes down to the second bud away from the main trunk, and that's where you will get your fruit. But I don't even know what to call our method of pruning since I kind of messed it up the first year. I considered last year, I was looking at them and thought I should just dig these out and start over because they're so weird, but they produce so much fruit that we're just gonna go with it. And you know, my parents, I think they've got 2 or 3 layers on their grapes, and I think they were there when we moved in, and they always did so great. And they always told me growing up that you trim away about, I don't know, 75% of the plant like off to a point where you feel like you've killed the plant, and then you keep pruning and prune more. And they are not wrong because these plants are so vigorous and they produce canes so fast. So what I'm gonna probably do is come in here. I don't want any of this stuff that's kind of on the ground or, you know, growing way out. We want it to be more flat than anything else. But I want to train another branch to go up from this area so that I can get some more cordon kind of things along this wire and then eventually on the top as well. So I do have some twist tie. I'm really running low on it though. Let me grab it. It's this stuff right here. It's like rubber coated wire, so it's really easy on your branches, but I'm going to be using that to kind of help hold everything on. You can see where I have used it. Maybe you can see where I've used it. Maybe not. Maybe I was able to like twist everything around. Oh, here's a piece right here. Yep, works great. Here's another one. You know, I might be able to take off enough of these and I'll probably end up with enough. Yeah, this one doesn't need to be held on by wire anymore. It's already growing around our training wire. Perfect. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is just give you guys a before shot on one of these things, and then we're gonna take after it, and then I'll show you what it looks like in the end and whatever kind of structure we ended up with. And thankfully we're just home grape growers. We're not growing for commercial production here because I don't think that these vines would pass. But you know, a lot of people like to grow them over pergolas and over, you know, structures outside, and they all get kind of a different shape on them. So, and they're great for that. Anyway, since we're standing by this one, here's the before shot. I mean, these branches are coming way out here. And let's look at this side. Just kind of a big old mess. There's our main trunk. This was probably the weirdest one because it forked down below. So I kind of have two trunks going on. Actually, yeah, like two trunks. That's so weird. Okay, let's get this done. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, God. Oh, my word. God. Attack of the grapevine. Stay over there. Well, there's the first one done, at least for today. And it's not ideal in shape, but we're getting closer. What I think I'm gonna do, because right now you can see we've got more of a fan shape. I left kind of four canes or cordons. Like this is a cordon right here, and this one is essentially a cordon right here. I'm hoping to move this one closer to center eventually. I just didn't want to put too much stress down here, and I did move it over a lot further than it was. So in the end, I'm hoping to have that one be a little bit more center, and then we'll train some canes to go laterally, and then we can eventually get rid of this one. But I didn't want to get rid of too much because I think that's actually going to be really pretty, even though it's very unique. And when it comes to grape pruning in terms of shape, I think we'll have a beautiful, we'll have beautiful coverage here. And we were able to remove so many branches that would have produced a lot of beautiful leafy growth, but it probably would have been hanging all over the ground, and it really hinders the ability of the plant to receive the light and airflow it needs to be a healthy plant. And you'll notice all of these canes right here, I came in and cut right above the second bud. It's a good example right here. There's one bud, two buds right there, so just made my cut. So we should be in business, but this is what happens when you ignore your grape plants for too long in the beginning. So let this be a lesson. Don't do what I did. Even if it's a hard thing to do that first year, to really prune them hard, they respond to that and they will have a better shape for it. So that would be my recommendation based on what I'm dealing with now. All right, guys, so we're just gonna tackle the rest of these and hopefully we end up with something that looks, I don't know, similar to this. I just can't get over how beautiful it is out here. It is life-giving to be in the sun that feels warm, where I almost want to take off my coat. They are done and looking so much better than when we started today, even if they're weird shape. Now this one I'm excited about. So even though it's got some weird stuff going on at the bottom, multiple trunks here, there was one that came out and it was really flexible and I was able to get it to come up here and to go both directions. So I've got 2 of the training wires filled on this one. So I'll just wait for another cane to grow out and then we will train it up to the top one. So exciting. We should get a lot of great production down here at the very least. We'll see what happens with this one here. And then this one, we've got two cordons coming out from a trunk that's really down low. So we've got one that comes up and I was able to get it to the very tippy top. And we've got one cane going this way. And then I'm hoping we'll probably train this one. I think I cut this one before I realized I was going to bring it all the way up here, in which case I would have had one to train here. That's why you need to go about it slowly. But grapes grow so quickly, I'm not too stressed about it. And then I was able to take these 2 canes and train them off this direction, which is exciting. And then this one right here, I've got 2 very solid cordons on the bottom, and then I'm training this cane to go up to the second training wire. Overall, I'm really happy. So in this space, we've got the raspberries done and the grapes done. We still have the blackberry row to go through, which we will save for another day. Maybe we'll wait till a little bit more of the snow is gone before we tackle that. But when we do these, I'll bring out fertilizer. I didn't bring any with me today, otherwise I would apply some to the grapes because I did get all of our fertilizer down for the raspberries. That way we can just get it all nice and ready for spring. I'm loving it. All right, guys, let's head out to the orchard. There it is. I'm driving to our water source over here. Before we spray, I do want to tackle just a little bit of pruning. And what I'm going to be doing today is not no major pruning today. I think I'm going to save that more toward summer and do summer pruning this year just to see. I want to experiment to see how that works. But today I want to look for anything disease, damaged, or dead, the 3Ds. That's the first thing we look for when we prune. And then any kind of like real spindly growth or anything that's growing into the interior of the tree. In fact, I've got a real good example over here. This is a Snow Beauty white peach right here. And you can see all of these little itty bitty branches growing right up into the center of the tree. I'm gonna eliminate that sort of thing. You can see this big one over here. I don't want to keep that. I want to keep like the main branches nice and open so air can get in there and so on and so forth. So that's basically what I'm going to do. A lot of years I'll get up on a ladder and make some heading cuts, which means just taking the main branch and cutting it down just to size control the tree. But I want these to get a little bit more size. And I know that's not what everybody wants in orchards. A lot of times there's different ways of pruning them. You can prune them vase shape, which is a desired shape for a lot of, peaches, nectarines, a lot of different trees. And it keeps the size of the tree a lot lower. That way it's a lot easier to harvest things. You can do, there's like standard fruit trees that get really quite large where they've got a central leader. A lot of apples and pears will do that. I kind of like this, the modified central leader, and I've talked about it in other videos, and maybe we can link another one down below where I go more into depth. But I want the trees to look like a tree shape. I don't want them to look like tortured orchard trees, which is kind of what they look like to me when they're in a vase shape, even though I think that that's probably the best way to prune them for maximum productivity and ease of harvest and ease of maintenance. But I want these just to fill in a little bit more. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to pop more trees in here. I keep thinking that I have a real good opportunity to pop another one like right here, because I've got 4 in a square. So there's an apple here. This is a Fuji, yeah, that's a Fuji apple. This is a Tilton apricot, and then I've got an Alberta peach here and a Snow Beauty white peach here. So I could put one here and just keep them a little bit smaller. But I don't know, it's kind of, that would throw off my design a little bit. Right behind the flower shed, we have a flavor top nectarine, which we have another one in that corner. That's a much older tree, but it's so good. It is my favorite fruit tree we have out here, so I had to get another one. They are like the better peach. They're so good, smooth skin, super tasty. Oh my gosh, it's making my mouth water. And I don't even have any to eat right now. We have a Santa Rosa plum, which is definitely our tallest tree. So we might get in there and do a little heading cuts on that a little bit later. Then we've got a Perfection apricot right here, which is putting on some size. I'm so excited about that. And we've got a Honeycrisp apple. So 9 fruit trees out here. We have the Espalier pear still in its raised bed that we'll spray today. And then we've got 2 dwarf fruit trees that are potted that are in the high tunnel. So we'll head back there at the very end to do some spraying on those. But let's just go through and just prune out anything we see. I don't think there's anything diseased in here. I don't think there's much damage. It's mostly just cutting things out of the interior, any crisscrossing branches, that sort of thing. Let's do it. First tree, this is the Honeycrisp apple. Just got a few little branches off of it. Pretty good. I almost forgot to mention, it's a really good idea to clean your pruners between, at the very least, each tree. If you have a tree that you suspect something is wrong with it, it's a good idea to clean your pruners between each cut, which is a pain, but then it eliminates you accidentally spreading something from one area of your tree to another or from one tree to the next. So I actually don't have any issues on my trees right now. I hate even saying that because I recently, was it not last year but the year before maybe, I had to replace both apricot trees because they had canker, but I haven't had any issues on any other trees. But I'm still going to clean my pruners, especially between my apples and my peaches and apricots, all of them. Got all of our pruning done, at least for now, and we'll keep our eyes on them, but they're looking really good and they're full of buds. So I'm hopeful that this spring plays out differently than last spring. Last spring they all bloomed beautifully and we had a sharp decrease in our temperature one night that we were not expecting, and we lost all of our fruit. Like I didn't get any fruit at all, which was a blessing in disguise because it did alleviate a lot of pressure on our fall schedule, because when we are needing to harvest and keep up on that, it just adds an extra thing. But I did miss the fruit. So I'm hopeful that this spring just is different. And I put some of the peach branches in a vase of water, and these will all bloom inside. We'll force these to bloom and they'll be beautiful little pink blooms. I'm so excited about it. But this is what we are going to be spraying with today. They're in plastic bags because I had to run down to the warehouse because I was out. So I had to grab a couple. So these are the two sprays we use for our dormant application. This is the all-season horticultural and dormant spray oil. This takes care of overwintering insects. It smothers them out and also takes care of a lot of different diseases. And the list is extensive. If you look at the back, this is not the best place to show you guys. If you look through here, you can find whatever crop you've got and all the things that it takes care of. You know, some of the things are scale, leaf rollers, mites, blight, powdery mildew, mosaic virus, all kinds of different things. And then the copper fungicide is the other one that we spray, and this takes care of black spot, early blight, powdery mildew, downy mildew, and a whole bunch of other different things. I would say that leaf curl is our biggest thing that we use it for around here. Now both of these sprays can be used during the growing season as well, but you have to mix it differently than you would mix it as a dormant oil or a dormant spray application rather. So you just want to make sure that you are reading the label, and depending on what time of year you're spraying it and what you're spraying it and why you're spraying it, it will give you a different mix ratio. But today, for our purposes as a dormant application, we're going to be using 2.5 ounces per gallon of the horticultural oil, which we've got a 2-gallon sprayer. So I'm going to put 5 ounces of this in my sprayer. And because I'm using a pump sprayer and not a hose end sprayer, I can mix these together in the same one. The copper, we use 2 ounces per gallon. So I'll be putting 4 ounces in our 2-gallon sprayer. The nectarine and the plum here are the tallest trees we have to spray, and the pump sprayer will still reach the top. But I'm guessing in the next year or two, I'm going to have to switch to a hose end applicator, which is very easy to use, except for the fact that I would have to string a hose from this hydrant all the way to the other end of the orchard. So it'd be a little bit more of a chore to do that. But the hose end applicators are so awesome, you guys. All you do is, maybe we can pop a picture up on the screen. I've used them before many, many times. I used to use them in my parents' orchard because their trees were way bigger. And the spray, I think, can reach up to 30 feet. But you put the concentrated, whatever you're using, fungicide or insecticide, whatever, in the hopper, and then you set the dial on the top to the mix ratio that you want. So let's say you put the horticultural oil in there. On the top, you set it to 2.5 ounces per gallon, and it will, as you turn the hose on and the water shoots through it, it will draw up the exact amount of concentrate you need for the ratio to be right in the water that's spraying on the tree. And then whatever is left in the hopper when you're done, you can pour it right back into your container and it's still the concentrate. It's really slick that way. But with the pump sprayer, it is also nice that I can do both of them together. So I just spray the tree once and then I'm done with that. Okay, so we're just gonna get this mixed up. Now, each one of these does come with like a little measuring thing right here that measures out ounces. But because I'm gonna be doing 5, we get these little cups that have all of the measurements on it. So this is the horticultural oil. I'm going to measure out 5 ounces for our 2-gallon sprayer. Right there, pour it in. Then we've got our liquid copper, which we need to use 4 ounces in a 2-gallon sprayer, and it's a nice bright blue color. There we go. Okay, the 2-gallon mark is right here, so we're gonna fill it up. Woo. Uh-oh. Why is this not working? Oh boy, I better call Aaron. Okay, so the water isn't working. We just had this moved, this hydrant, last fall. Anyway, I'm hoping there's not a leak. I don't think there's a leak. Aaron thinks it's probably the power to the pump. So he's gonna go teach me at the power panel which one to turn on and off and what to look for. So hopefully we're back right here with running water in a minute. Okay, I think it's up and running again. Woo! In my face, awesome. All right. There we go. Okay, so when you get ready to spray your trees, the main thing is that you want to make sure it's a nice day. There's no rain on our forecast, and we actually are past freezing at this point, and it's not breezy. Last year, I remember spraying, the breeze picked up right before we got ready to do the project, and I just made sure to stand downwind of the spray. But when we go in to do it, you want to make sure to fully coat every branch, top and bottom, the whole trunk, and then the ground around it. Pretty easy. So check that out. It's glistening with the spray, and it just took us a couple of minutes. Really easy to do. Okay, I'm just gonna continue on. We've got 8 more trees here in the orchard, then the Paris Espalier, then the miniature trees in the high tunnel. Let's get it done. Got it all done, and oh my goodness, is it hot in these high tunnels. I'm gonna open up the other one too. I think we're coming into those days that if it's gonna be sunny out, we're gonna have to open them up, maybe front and back, to keep some air going in here. Whew. But these are my dwarf fruit trees. I have a dwarf peach and a dwarf nectarine here. I can't remember the varieties of them. Peach of pixie, miniature peach, and then something baby nectarine, maybe. But let me tell you what, they are loaded up with buds. Oh my goodness. This is the nectarine, I think. This is the one that I got last year, and it's a little bit healthier. This is the, I think it's the Pixie Miniature Peach that wasn't looking super hot, and I repotted it, and it is coming back a bit. It got a few new little branches, and then there are buds all over, so I'm hopeful that it kind of rebounds and is happier in its home. These are the grape trees that we're working on, and they're doing great. I was just checking on them, and these buds are soft. So hopefully we get some more growth out of those this year. That's been a fun one. And everything else in here is probably about ready to break dormancy with how hot it is in here. My word. We've got some beautiful things sitting here. The snow crystal crabapple. So you can see that these are persistent. They're beautiful. Persistent means the crabapple stay on until spring, until new growth pushes them out, or birds usually come and clean them up if they were outside. A whole bunch of other things in here. We've got hydrangeas, mock orange, There's some spruce trees in here. Probably need to get these out of here. A whole bunch of buddleia, which they never went fully dormant in here. And this one's got buds. Oh my gosh. We've got some really pretty heucheras over there as well. Oh, I had to come over here to look at our Blonde Ambition blue gramagrass. We started this in the winter sowing in a water jug last year, and I think I got 60 out of one water jug. Isn't that amazing? And now they're even more established, and they're gonna grow quick this spring, I think. But you guys, that is it for today's projects. I just really wanted to get those grapes tackled and then the fruit tree spraying done, which I did want to also mention kind of the schedule for fruit tree spraying in our area, and it could be different based on where you are, where you live, but typically we spray 3 times. However, the fruit tree growers in our area say as long as you hit the last spray, even if you don't do the first 2, you'll probably be good. But usually you want to do your spraying right after they drop their leaves in the fall, which for us means late November, and then again on a nice sunny day in January, and then again toward the end of February on a nice day. But we just didn't have the nice days this winter. Not that I normally keep up with the 3 spray regimen, but it just really wouldn't have allowed it, I don't think, this year, because we have had so much moisture and areas are flooding around us. People are like having to evacuate homes and things like that because of how high our water is, which is not normal for us. But it was just raining and snowing and wet all the time that you really want to wait till a dry day to do your spraying. So anyway, if we happen to have like an extended spring where it just stays a little bit more cool, I might hit them one more time with spray. But my approach during the season, a lot of people use a contact, like a fruit tree spray that's more of a contact killer for insects and things like that in season. And I don't do that. I don't spray during the season. And I'm going to try bagging my apples this year, if we get apples. I've bought those little mesh bags. So once, you know, they start to form up, you can put the bags on them and it'll keep the worms out, hopefully. There are some other methods. You can spray them with, what is that? That clay, right? I can't remember what it's called. You can do that, but it kind of gives like a film on the apples. I don't really want to have a film on my apples, and I don't want to have to spray them with something else. So I think bagging them is the way to go this year. I actually bought the bags last year and then we lost all of our fruit, so I didn't have to use them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, and we will see you in the next one.